Hey PoE homies, JWar here with another video. So today we're going to talk about what to do after you get done mapping on your character, or what to do after you get into yellow and red maps on your character and you're really starting to fill out your atlas a lot. You're starting to get a lot of those atlas passive points on your skill tree, and you need to transition into doing some serious farming. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of preparing for the new league, and I want to get everything as smooth as possible because planning is very key to having a good league in PoE. And the faster of a start you can get, the more powerful of a league start you have, the more items you can get early when the economy is nice and fresh, the better off you're going to be. So having a plan early is definitely really important. So that's kind of what this video is going to be about. We're going to talk about how to get the most currency early on and a little bit of planning for how you should go about doing that. So basically what I want to talk about in this video is farming strategies and what farming strategies I'm going to do and what I'm looking at doing right now on League Start. Granted, we still have patch notes coming out, so some of this stuff is subject to change, but I just want to give you guys an idea of what I'm doing and my thought process for how I'm breaking down what strategy I'm going to be deciding on and how I'm deciding on those strategies. So, alright, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I've kind of set up a list here and kind of just doing a little of a question and answer for myself here, going through with planning, and this may seem a little bit, I don't know, almost silly to some people, but it's the kind of thing you want to do to plan ahead with what you're going to do with your build, right? So I'm looking at a build that's going to have pretty fast map speed, pretty good clear, but not amazing clear, no explosions, nothing like that. I'm thinking about maybe trying to get a pair of Asenath's Chant gloves early on to help with some explosions, which would be nice for clearing things like Harvest and Expedition. But anyway, that's just the build I'm looking at and the capabilities of my build. So you might want to go through here, and I'm going to talk about what I think. I've highlighted some of the best farming strategies early on here, and I'm going to go through and explain the reasoning why I'm going to pick or not pick some of these farming strategies. So first of all, Essence. Do we want to do Essence early on? Well, I've done Essence early in the past, and it's been pretty good, but with the Arch Nemesis mod changes to rare monsters, Essence is kind of a nightmare on a low budget build. The monsters, you need like 20 million damage to take down some of these Essence monsters in a reasonable amount of time without feeling like you're just being extremely inefficient and just smacking a monster away, or it just kills you because it's so strong. So Essence is a little bit out of the question early. I'm not going to be pathing to the Essence nodes early on. So I've also got the map device, or the Atlas passive tree up here to kind of show you what I'm thinking about and maybe coming up with a little bit of a pseudo plan for how I'm going to path early on. First of all, we definitely would want to get all the maps drop one to your higher nodes. Here, we want to grab these three, right? First and foremost, maybe grab the Kirac stuff in the middle here, and then go for Fortune Favors the Brave stuff over here, and Shaping the Seas, Shaping the Valleys, and then Shaping the Seas nodes. Okay, so we're going to get all that stuff, but what do we get after that, right? We're going to be pushing through the maps pretty quickly. We're going to have a powerful build because we've done our planning for that already in the league. What else are we going to do? Well, I'm thinking about doing Harvest and Expedition potentially. And those of you guys don't know, there have been some Harvest changes, or there are going to be some Harvest changes upcoming in the next league. And this is based upon the comment Bex made about Harvest crafts being tradable, more or less. She made some comment alluding to the fact that TFT or third-party websites, I forget how exactly it was phrased, are not going to be necessary for Harvest craft trading in the future. I don't think she said exactly that, but there's only so many ways you can interpret what she did say, and she basically was saying Harvest crafts are going to be tradable in the future. We'll have to see, but I'm under the impression right now that that is what's going to happen. So Harvest crafts could be really good early on, as even if the market is a little bit flooded, as I feel like it might be with this situation happening, you could still Harvest craft with all your gear and make at least some money selling the crafts you don't use, which is a good thing to do anyway in the early game to get your gear in a really nice place without having to invest in it and buy from someone else, right? That's looking pretty good as a route I'll go in. And I also want to do Expedition, and if we look at the Atlas passive tree here, a lot of the Expedition stuff, the first cluster is right here, and Harvest is right here, and they're kind of close by, right? So it'd be pretty efficient pathing. Here's another Expedition here, and then Harvest is, let's see, where was the other Harvest? Oh yeah, then Harvest is right here as well, the big rings for Harvest and Expedition. Very close to each other, right? So that's looking like a pretty good complementary strategy there. Start allocating my points, and then again, Expedition and Harvest right here and here. So those are looking pretty nice to do. Right. Another thing I should mention that I've been thinking about for people that are struggling to get into red maps, maybe your build's a little bit weaker. There's a lot of builds right now, by the way, guys, that are good league starters that struggle once they get up to red maps without some gear investment, right? So you might find yourself stuck on a build that is a good build, but it can't quite break through and really power farm red maps efficiently, and you need a couple more pieces of gear. Well, something you can do for that is you can do Essence and Harvest on yellow maps, right? Because you're not going to get lower tier essences. If you have all the essence nodes, you'll still be getting shrieking essences and stuff like that from your essences, and you can upgrade them with Remnant of Corruption to Deafening and all that. Do all essence farming like you normally would if you're on red maps, and you get the same type of essences, so it's going to be just as rewarding doing essences on lower tier maps, but the essence monsters aren't going to be as scary, not anywhere near as insanely powerful as they are in the red tier maps. So, and the other thing you could do with that is harvest, right? Because if you're on tier 7, 8, 9 maps, it's going to take you up to level 76 crafts for your harvest crafts, which you're going to be able to trade to other players and use yourself on high item level pieces, because you're going to be able to craft on up to item level 86 pieces, right? That's how it works. You have plus or minus 10 within the level of the craft that you're using onto a piece of gear. If you take a item level 75 craft, you cannot put it on an item level 86 craft, but you can take an item level 75 craft and put it on an item level 85 piece of gear. So as long as you're doing somewhere between like 7, 8, 9 range of harvest crafting, probably really just up to 73, which is pretty low tier yellow maps, you're going to be just fine. And you combine that with Essence to have a pretty good strategy there if you find yourself stuck in yellow maps. So it's kind of a little bit of a contingency plan there, and that's also what I'm thinking about doing, because I'm like, well, what do I want to do after I get through maps, after I start, you know, powering through my atlas? What do I want to focus on? Where is my character going to feel like, and what can I do with my character based upon that? So that's some of the stuff I'm thinking about, and then also, what is my character going to be strong at doing, right? I know, and getting into these next two, Legion and Blight are not going to be very good for my character. I do not have a really wide, clear, explosion type clear on my character. You might want to do Legion or Blight. Legion and Blight are also very good, that's why I've included them here. You might notice some things that are missing, you know, Ritual, Metamorph is not in here. I don't think those are as good. These are probably the top ones. My favorite farming strategies, right? So, and I'm just going through and explaining why I've chosen these and why I'm not going to do these, but you might be able to do Legion of Blight. You might want to think about doing it if you're doing something like, I would say Corrupting Fever, but that kind of got killed with the patch notes, but we'll see, or killed with the manifesto, but we'll see what happens with the patch notes with that. Something with just a lot of clear, maybe you have like a LE bow build that can handle it, right? Lightning arrow, something like that is going to be pretty good at Legion or Blight maybe. So something I was thinking about here, and this is kind of just an interesting strategy to throw into the video, is Vault Temples. Well, if you guys noticed, those of you who've been keeping up with the teasers and the news, there's a lot of really powerful unique items coming out. So what's interesting that drops from Vault Temples, there's a lot of double corrupted uniques. So I think potentially even buying up Vault Temples early before people kind of catch on to this could be a good strategy. I don't know if it's really going to be worth a lot of time investment early, but it's something I'm just thinking about as a potential strategy, maybe down the road a little bit. Maybe if I have some extra currency that I can invest in something that's more of a gamble, that I'm feeling pretty good about, you know, the other investments I've made, I can invest into something that's a little bit more of a gamble, maybe try some Vault Temples out with some of these new improved unique items, as they're calling them, right? So, and then lastly here, if you're playing something like Seismic Trap, you probably want to do some bossing. I'm typing in no here because that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do bossing, but obviously bossing is a really good strategy. You can farm Shaper, you can farm Elder, Uber bosses early on. It's going to be really good. The stronger your build can get, the better it can do, and all those kinds of things. You're going to be making more and more money as there's a limited number of people that can get those early. And again, I'm talking about all these strategies with a kind of day 1, day 2, really just like a first week of the league perspective in mind here. And that's just how I want to go about handling my character as I go through some of these farming strategies and what I'm thinking about doing with my character. And I wanted to go over this mainly because I wanted to help people that are probably trying to figure out what they want to do, because it can be really confusing and kind of overwhelming sometimes. You're so focused on getting a strong build, getting through the maps, getting your atlas completed, and then you get to the end of it and you're like, okay, well, what now? What do I want to do now? But you do kind of want to have a plan for what you're going to be hitting as soon as you can get through and start that farming strategy up right away and start really making that money early. But alright, yeah, just wanted to make this video to get speed people thinking about what they're going to be doing at league start. If you have some cool strategies you might be doing, you know, you share them if you feel like it in the comments. Let me know what you thought of these strategies. Let me know if you think there's something missing, you know? Really, it's just all for discussion. Just getting the hype started and starting to get prepared for the new league. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys, and thanks for watching.